Hey, how are you today? I don't have a very special, exciting program today, but what I do have is I have a very, very informative program. I have no guest here today. That was intentional. You've heard me speak about my going to Charlotte, North Carolina to the 117th VFW convention. I went. I served very proudly there. And what I want to talk to you about is some important changes to the VA system that the VFW is insisting upon. We're insisting upon it so much that these are resolutions that should be turned into law by way of legislative action. I'm just going to read the topic. I'm not going to read every piece of paper to you. I am going to explain it to you. This is Resolution 613. I don't know if you can find it online. I probably should have tried that earlier, but that just popped into my head because that's what happens. This resolution is to extend service connection presumption to blast survivors. Now, this is critically important to the younger veterans who are coming home from Iraq and Afghanistan, or who have come home from Iraq and Afghanistan and encountered an IED blast. What we want passed is we're urging Congress to approve what's called a presumption of service, a presumption of service connection for medical conditions that are associated with TBI. If you were in a blast and if you had filed a claim for that, this will also have an effect. It may have a monetary effect where it goes up some, or compensatory effect where it goes up a bit. So again, this is to extend the service connection presumption to blast survivors. This one is important to all veterans. This is Resolution 614, and they're all in order. This is tinnitus and hearing loss presumptive service connection. Now, I've had guys come into the office and ask to file a claim, and they were denied because we couldn't prove that the hearing loss occurred while they were in service. So for you guys, this is great news. I'm going to read the resolution from the VFW. Be it resolved by the Veterans of Foreign Wars of the United States, we urge Congress and the Secretary of Veterans Affairs to grant service connection on a presumptive basis for any veteran diagnosed after discharge with hearing loss or tinnitus. That's huge. That's huge. There are guys from the Korean conflict. There are guys from World War II. There are guys from Vietnam that are suffering today from hearing loss, and no way to prove that it was initially caused. And what we've discovered is it's like a crack in a glass. You get that crack, and you get this big glass door, and you get a little crack. That door may seem fine for another decade, and then all of a sudden that crack just explodes. That's what happens with hearing loss. That's what happens with the initial hearing loss. So this is huge because it's money, it's compensation. 615, resolution number 615, is also on hearing loss. It is asking that if you filed a claim and you received 0%, that 0% no longer be applicable to hearing loss. That if you have hearing loss and you're required to wear hearing aids, whether by a civilian doctor or a VA doctor, then you need to be compensated for that. So we're trying to do away with the 0% where hearing loss is concerned. So, VA comp is paid in increments of 10 from 0 through 100. What we're trying to do is stop the 0% in hearing loss so that it will begin at 10 and go through to 100. The VA claims workload. Now, you all know what kind of problems that is. It's like taking 65 pounds of malarkey and putting it in a 50-pound bag. There's just no room for it. And that's what's happened with our claims workload. We have a workload somewhere around 1.6 million claims for compensation or pension or education benefits and appeals that are being processed right now. 1.6 million. So what we're asking for is 3 resolutions here. Be it resolved by the Veterans of Foreign Wars of the United States that Congress require VA to accept private medical evidence and opinions in lieu of VA examinations. What does that mean? How many times have I been asked, I have my medical records, and I'll say, great, great, great. Do you have your VA medical records? Do you have your Army service records, your Marine Corps service records? What the VA wants to take into evidence now is your civilian records that will show you've had this problem for X amount of years. And again, we're going back to the crack in the glass. We can't prove for a fact that it happened in service without service medical records. However, we can prove that you've been treated for something that's of age. That puts you right back in the service. The second portion of the resolve is that we urge Congress to continue to exercise its oversight capacity and provide the resources necessary to hire, train, and sustain a workforce sufficient to overcome the workload and provide quality and timely service to those claiming benefits or appealing decisions from the VA. That means we're going to hire more people, or we hope to make the VA hire more competent people to work on the backload. The third resolution is that Congress continues its oversight of VA IT initiatives to ensure that they are constructive, relevant, and effective in streamlining claims. IT is nothing more than computers, our software, our technical issues. It's an effort to make the claim workload decrease quicker. The VFW works very hard to accomplish a lot for veterans. Maybe I'm going to take a break right here and explain that if you're not eligible to be a member of the VFW, so what? You can still go to the VFW for your claims. If you served, you can join the American Legion. Now that's a veteran service organization that's well worth serving. If you're a veteran now receiving VA comp, then you're eligible for DAV, the Disabled American Veterans, which is also another veteran service organization. I'm a life member of all 3, and I encourage you to look into membership in any one of them. Find your eligibility, fit right in, and get with the program. Get all of your benefits. Our biggest problem the veteran has is always, we don't know what we don't know. All right, so this is Resolution 617, and it has to do with the improved education benefits for survivors. This has a lot to do with the transfer of the Gunnery Sergeant John David Fry Scholarship and the post-9/11 GI Bill. A veteran, for whatever reason, maybe he started off in a career and he doesn't feel as though he needs to go back to school, or that if by going back to school his job is in jeopardy. In the past, they've let that benefit expire. Now, with this resolution, you can pass that on to your children, you can pass that on to your wife, and in cases of DIC, the payments made to widows, she can pass that on to her children as well now. Be it resolved by the Veterans of Foreign Wars of the United States that we urge Congress to increase DEA benefits to reflect the rising cost of education, with future increases indexed to reflect the average cost of attendance as reported by the Department of Education. We're trying to get it so that you receive a fair amount for your education, that you do less out of pocket, and that you can transfer your GI Bill. Now this is a big one. Everybody's going to experience this. The burial plot allowance. Now that's been a bone of contention with families of deceased veterans for as long as I can remember. I'm going to read this second paragraph. Whereas the cost of funeral expenses in the private sector have increased nearly 7 times over since 2001, and the current VA benefit is $2,000 for a service-connected death and $300 burial and $747 plot allowance for a qualifying non-service-connected death, well below the cost in the private sector. Now again, we have 3 resolutions. Be it resolved by the veterans of foreign wars of the United States that Congress increase all burial benefits to what the independent budget recommends. The service-connected burial benefit, non-service-connected burial benefit, and the plot allowance for those veterans who do not have access to a state or national veteran cemetery should be increased to $6,160, $1,918, and $1,150 respectively. And be it further resolved that the service-connected burial benefit, non-service-connected burial benefit, and the plot allowance for those veterans who have access to a state or national veteran cemetery but chose burial in a private cemetery should be increased to $2,793, $854, and $1,150 respectively. Be it further resolved that Congress should provide the resources required to meet burial needs of all veterans who have served their country so honorably and faithfully. It's impossible to keep up with the civilian sector and give the veteran the honorable burial that he deserves. The veterans of foreign wars trying to establish with Congress not only the need, but to see the need to increase the amounts of money that is paid in respect to the burial of a veteran. Now, I started this by saying that I want to have a conversation with you. And the way that's going to take place is I'm giving you a lot of information. And this is played out throughout the month. So if you're not getting everything now, watch it again, all right? Give me a call. You want to talk about this. This is your benefits. Resolution number 619, toxic exposures. Vietnam veterans, pay attention. Whereas veterans who served on the ground and in inland waterways during the Vietnam War are granted presumptive service connection for conditions associated with Agent Orange exposure. Yet Blue Water Navy veterans are still arbitrarily and unjustly denied such presumption. This goes on and on and on the changes that the VFW wants to see to benefit exposure to Blue Water naval veterans. Be it resolved by the veterans of foreign war of the United States that we urge Congress to invest adequate resources to study, diagnose, and treat conditions and illnesses associated with toxic exposure, Agent Orange. Be it further resolved that Congress ensures the Department of Veterans Affairs extends presumptive service to veterans suffering from any condition or illness found to be associated with exposure to toxic substances in the line of duty. This is good stuff, guys. This means that Vietnam veterans who served either boots on the ground, brown water or blue water, will equally be covered. I'm a veteran. I'm going to tell you, I can't tell by the illnesses I see in the veterans where they were in Vietnam. The illnesses are all the same. They're pretty common. If you had filed a claim and you denied the claim, that number on the bottom of the screen, you need to give me a call. Let's set up an appointment. This, of course, does have to go before Congress. It'll probably happen by year's end because the VFW, the VFW passes more laws than any other VSO service organization. It's one of the things that we do. We fight, just as we're in the boots, we fight very hard for you. And this is the final one before I get on to some other things of interest. Resolution 620, marker medallions. Whereas Public Law 110-157, signed into law on December 26, 2007, blah, 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 says we now have a medallion that can go on the headstone. And it identifies the headstone as that belonging to a veteran. I saw them when I was down at the convention. They come in 3 different sizes. They're adhered right to the face of the stone. Now here in North Andover, one of the things that we do is we provide, at no charge to the family, a flag holder. So if you haven't gotten a flag holder, or if your loved one hasn't a flag holder at his gravesite, and you are from North Andover or from Boxford, that number on the bottom of the screen, give me a call. I just got some in. They've already started to go out. I should have brought one with me. They're good-looking markers. They hold the flag, and we provide the flag for you as well. So here it is. Be it resolved by the veterans of foreign wars of the United States of America that we support amending Public Law 110-157 to require the Department of Veterans Affairs to furnish a medallion or other device notwithstanding the fact that they died prior to November 1, 1990. This means now for any veteran. The Public Law 110-157 was for veterans from November 1990 to present day. We want to go before 1990. That's it for my resolutions. I hope you took notes. If you didn't, watch the show again. Take notes. You know what's coming now. You have questions, call that number on the bottom of the screen. I would love to talk to you. I told you I want to have a conversation with you. Some more things that are happening. Once again, I want to mention the wheelchair program that I have. They're power wheelchairs. I do have some manual wheelchairs that are in either new or new-like condition. But the power wheelchairs are a gift of mobility to a veteran who otherwise may not be able to get out and around. Now, we have power wheelchairs. We have scooters. We deliver them. I refurbish them, mostly myself in my home garage. There's never a cost to the veteran. There's never a cost to the town. The cost is all through other agencies, or sometimes I have people who want to sponsor a wheelchair, and they'll pay for new batteries or the new upholstery, whatever it needs. There's going to be a Veterans Fair August 26th and the 27th. Now, this Veterans Fair will be held in Lawrence at the Lawrence Senior Center. It is being operated by my good friend and brother, J.T. Torres, with the New England Veterans Liberty House. He has arranged for state service officers from the VFW, the American Legion, DAV to be present to help you with claims or answer claims questions. He has arranged for several employers. Now, you may be sitting at home on your couch and going, employers, I just retired. Nobody's going to hire me for a part-time job, but that's not true. There are a lot of opportunities for older veterans who want to work a day or two. In addition to that, there are per diem jobs available for LPNs, for nurses, nursing assistants. Give me a call at the bottom of the screen. People are going to be there to hire both per diem and part-time positions. If you want to make a couple extra bucks, come by, give them a call. The VA will be there, the health care. If you haven't yet got your VA ID card, if you have not enrolled in the VA healthcare system, please do. There are so many more benefits when you have that little card. There are all kinds of opportunities going to be at this fair. Now, another thing I want to talk to you about is the VFW State Commander, Brian Martin. He has a special project that he's running for 1 year, and he's going to raise $95,000. Now, what do you suppose a state commander from the VFW is going to do with $95,000. He wants to bring World War II veterans, Korean War veterans, and Vietnam veterans on a private airplane down in Washington, D.C., so that they can view the monuments that were built to honor them. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. If you are interested in donating money to veterans, this is the organization that you want to send it to. VFW, Department of Massachusetts, State House, Boston, Mass. That's it. If you want to put attention, State Commander Brian Martin, that's great. Please enclose a small check. Anything at all to help those veterans of the Korean War, World War II, and Vietnam get on that airplane and fly down to Washington, D.C. It's called On a Flight. If you got a computer, punch it into the search engine and look that up. On a Flight, New England. Again, I'm Gerry Maguire, and I'm glad we had this conversation. I hope to hear from you pretty soon. Thank you.